Al Gore's back. He just put out his new anti-global warming documentary. It's called An Inconvenient Sequel. Like in his previous film, An Inconvenient Truth, Gore warns about imminent planetary catastrophe if everybody doesn't start using less energy and throwing off less carbon.
Hold it now.
Isn't the world going green on its own? Does it need this government, this international regulation?
The answer is yes and yes. We're in the midst of a sustainability revolution that has the magnitude of the Industrial Revolution, but the speed of the digital revolution. But yes, we still need good policies because we have to move faster. We're in a race against time here. We're seeing very encouraging changes, but we have to change faster. The late economist Rudy Dornbush, I'm sure you knew him, he once said, things take longer to happen than you think they will, and then they happen much faster than you thought they could. And the Paris Agreement was a successful effort to send the signal, this train is leaving the station, everybody on board. The U.S. should be on board. States and cities and businesses and civil society leaders are on board. If we had the president on board and good policy, we could move even faster.
I fact-checked Mr. Pruitt. I'm going to fact-check you. Okay. After your movie An Inconvenient Truth came out in 2006, you made the following comments as part of your publicity for the movie. You said, unless we took, quote, drastic measures, the world would reach a point of no return within 10 years, and you called it a true planetary emergency. We're 11 years later.
No.
Weren't you wrong?
Well, we have seen a decline in emissions for the on a global basis. For the first time, they've stabilized and started to decline. So some of the responses of the last 10 years have helped. But unfortunately and regrettably, a lot of serious damage has been done. Greenland, for example, is losing 1 cubic kilometer of ice every single day. I went down to Miami and saw fish from the ocean swimming in the streets on a sunny day. The same thing was true in Honolulu just 2 days ago, just from high tides because of the sea level rise now.
Gore has this ingenious thing, sort of, where he starts out and he quotes a chorus of people whom he later explains to us are either fools or shills from the fossil fuel industry, right. And they are ridiculing Gore. And one of the things they say is that, oh, you said sea levels would rise 20 feet. And I perked up and I thought, wow, how is he going to get out of this one? Because they definitely did and definitely aren't.
Right.
And what he did is he just brought up this chorus to bring forward this idea that since An Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore has been victimized by fools and shills. That's premise number one of the movie, who claim that he overpredicted these things.
Well, first off, even if that were true, it still doesn't answer the 20 feet question, but I'm tracking.
Right. But he's making it seem like he's going to. Right. And then he says, then kind of premise two as well on the renewables replacing fossil fuels issue. That's totally happening, and he gives a whole bunch of anecdotes, which is distinct from data.
Yes. He
gives a whole bunch of anecdotes allegedly proving that, and then he gives a whole bunch of anecdotes proving climate has gotten worse, but he never quite addresses the 20-foot thing. And then you step back and you think, wait, he never actually proved any of these are trends. He just gave us anecdotes that make us think that the trends exist. And fortunately, professionally, I study the trends, so I know the trends. So I found just incredible. There's not evil, just wrong, but no, it's really evil to manipulate data to make a trend seem like the opposite of what it is. And I can elaborate, but the trends in terms of how vital fossil fuels are and how safe we are from climate are the exact opposite of what this manipulative movie says they are.
We've got some inconvenient truths of our own. A new paper points out that Gore's personal home in Nashville, Tennessee, consumes 21 times as much electricity as a typical American home. Can that be true? We weren't sure, so we asked Drew Johnson to come. He's a senior fellow at the National Center for Public Policy Research. He wrote that paper, and he joins us now. Drew, it's hard to believe that someone who cares as deeply about the fate of the Earth as Al Gore does could personally own a home that burns that much electricity. How can that be?
Well, it makes you wonder if he actually believes what he's saying. I mean, this is a guy who has not only this home that burns more electricity in 1 year than the average American burns in their home in 21 years, but he also has 2 other homes on top of it. And here's a guy who's basically exploited concerns about the environment to make $300 million and win the Nobel Prize.
Al Jazeera English and now Al Jazeera America, really high quality stuff. They're very widely respected and people will see for themselves. And by the way, their climate coverage is higher quality and more extensive than any network on TV now in the U.S.
Al Jazeera, what does it mean, Al Jazeera?
I'm not sure. I ought to know, but I don't know.
I think it means...
Wait a minute. I can Google it.
I think it means, yeah.
Just like Dr. Oz.
I think I was told earlier, I think it means the island. I'm not sure what that reference is. But what country is the origin of Al Jazeera? And that's a...
gas and oil.
Gas and oil. So you're selling this television network to a gas and oil supported emirate. That's not an emirate, it's an independent country.
One of the emirates, it's independent. And the closest ally of the U.S. in the Arab world, our fleet is there.
Isn't that one of the problems with the global warming, our dependence on the petroleum-producing countries?
Yes, it is, and they have...
So you, Al Gore, are doing business with this country that's enabling your ultimate foe, climate change.
I think I understand what you're getting at. Unfortunately, some elements of the Earth system have crossed a point of no return. A big chunk of the West Antarctic ice sheet, for example, makes a considerable amount of sea level rise. Won't necessarily do you any good for me to tell you that the scientists do say that the sea level is rising in the Chesapeake Bay and that you've lost about 2/3 of your island already over a longer period of time. And that the forecast for the future is another 2 feet of sea level. What would another, if there was another 2 feet of sea level rise, what would that mean for Tangier Island?
Tangier Island, our elevation is only about 4 foot above sea level.
Yeah.
And if I see sea level rise occurring, I'll shout it from the housetop.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have, the land to give up, but I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the challenges of this issue is taking what the scientists say and translating it into terms that are believable to people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one of the challenges of this issue is taking what the scientists say and translating it into terms that are believable.
Okay, let me ask most Americans, and I've gone all across America to talk about extractive industry. Right, you're not winning any over with this. I do think it's important that people care about the future for their children. I really do, Tucker. Everybody cares about the future for their children. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. Would you deny that our society is based on science? Medicine is based on science. Media is based on science. All the things that we have to say are based on science. What the science is telling us is that climate change is going to create a situation which is very, very dangerous and difficult for civilization to endure. Climate change will raise sea levels to the point to which it swamps all of our major cities. Can I ask you a question, or are you going to continue with this stuff? Let me just ask you a really simple question. When you say, still haven't answered my question to you, which is, do you understand behind climate change? I guess not all of it. I'm not a scientist. No, I don't fully understand it. So do you understand what the science is telling us about climate change? Do you understand how dire it is? I find it absolutely amazing. You're too obnoxious to talk to, unless you just answer one simple question. Okay, hold on, stop. Let me ask you a question, okay? Ask the question. You're giving me these like general bromides about climate change. Go ahead, say what you're saying. When you say that climate change is destroying the world and it's the thing that we should worry about most, and then you say simultaneously it's not really dependent upon our individual choices, aren't you giving a pass to some of the big individual polluters? If I say I really care about climate change and I fly choices around, that matter. It's group actions that matter. It doesn't matter if you fly in a private plane. Millennials, who are by and large the people who are of childbearing age right now. Now you're not letting me talk, so I'm just going to talk. Millennials who are of childbearing age right now, our #1 issue is climate change, because they know that they're going to inherit an incredibly unstable world. The United Nations predicts that we will have 1 billion. This is actually too stupid. I'm going to bring this to a close. I'd love to have a conversation with you, but you're like
war. This is instability. This is
like every
starvation. This is profound.
Dopey guy invoking science to like
listen,
get
Tucker, I'm
self-righteous.
just trying to answer your question. Listen, I really want to be civil with you because I'm interested
being civil.
in breaking
I'm just
through.
too frustrated
Your audience.
because. All right.
No.
I appreciate
Tucker,
it. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, like, what is that?